Mayor, would you like to proceed?
Yes, please.
Good evening, everyone. This is the meeting of the Borough of Highlands Mayor and Council regular meeting, Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. Executive session for tonight has been canceled. The notice requirements provided for in Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times, and by posting at the Borough of Highlands Municipal Building and filing with the Borough Clerk, all on January 1st, 2021. Items listed on the agenda are subject to change. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now call roll. Councilmember Martin?
Here.
Councilmember Mazzola? Here. Councilmember Moment?
Here.
Council President Oshetsky? Here. Mayor Bouillon?
Here.
Thank you. On tonight's agenda, we have a proclamation for the Highlands First Aid Squad 90th anniversary, to be read by Mayor Bouillon.
This proclamation, as the clerk has mentioned, is for the Highlands First Aid 90th anniversary. Whereas emergency, general, and technical rescue services are vital for our community, and whereas the Highlands First Aid Squad was first established on October 15th, 1931, and whereas emergency medical services are now firmly established as a key component of the medical care continuum, and EMS practitioners serve a vital role in saving lives from sudden cardiac arrest and trauma, in getting people to hospitals best equipped to treat heart attacks and strokes, and in showing caring and compassion to the patients in their most difficult moments. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas HFAS is a completely volunteer-run organization made up of volunteers who provides these vital public services to the residents of the Borough of Highlands. HFAS provides training, instruction, and service opportunities for individuals interested in helping neighbors, and the volunteers of HFAS have been providing services to the Borough of Highlands and neighboring towns since October of 1931. And whereas our community is fortunate to be served by such dedicated volunteers who give their time in service of the Highlands First Aid Squad and engage in hundreds of hours of specialized training to enhance life-saving knowledge and skills, and whereas from national disasters to pandemics, they do not change the fact that everyday emergencies occur, and HFAS volunteers continue to put themselves on the line to respond to medical emergencies, falls, accidents, and all other routine events of day-to-day life, now with additional precautions and safety measures as required by the pandemic, and deliver hope to families and residents in crisis. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize and appreciate the value and accomplishments of the 90 years of service of the Highlands First Aid Squad. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Carolyn Bouillon, Mayor of Highlands, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim October 17 of 2021 as Highlands First Aid Squad Day in Highlands. Extend on behalf of our residents our heartfelt gratitude to the dedicated volunteers of the Highlands First Aid Squad. I encourage all Highlands residents to celebrate and support HFAS organization and their service to our community over the last 90 years. I did this proclamation on the 17th day of October in 2021 at the squad. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is introduction of proposed ordinances. Tonight we have one ordinance. It's O2135, capital ordinance providing for various capital improvements and the acquisition of various capital equipment and appropriating $500,000, therefore authorizing by the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey.
Before I offer this, I would like our CFO, Mr. de Blasio, to say a couple of words just explaining why this ordinance is on for tonight.
Thank you. Good evening. Yeah, so the borough has set some funds aside in our capital improvement fund, and we currently have about $748,000 in that fund. And what we're looking to do tonight is to fully fund an ordinance, and those funds would be set aside from the monies we are holding in our capital improvement fund, and it'll be used for specific projects that the mayor and council decide to do, and they would bid those projects naturally. This would be no bonding, no additional cost to the town. It's something that we have built up over time and plan to build up, so it's fully funded. That's my comment on it.
Thank you, Pat. And with that, I'll offer.
Second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
This ordinance has passed on first reading with public hearing set for November 10th, 2021. Next item on the agenda is we have two ordinances tonight for public hearing. The first is O-2133, an ordinance approving and recommending naming of a private road in Block 41, Lot 13.01.
Just to describe this before I open it to the public, this is, the naming of a private road that will be next to the American Legion and the lot that's been empty for the last 40 years. The owner of the property has decided that he wanted to honor, the late William O'Neill, who went by Gipper, and to name it, Gipper Way. Mr. O'Neill was a lifelong resident. He spent all 94 years of his life here in town. And he was a United States Army veteran. And with that, I will open it to the public. Does anyone have any questions on naming this private road? Okay, and with that, I will close it to the public. And I will gladly offer this.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
This ordinance has passed on second and final reading. The next ordinance is O-2134, an ordinance designating restricted parking in front of a residence occupied by a person with disability.
I will open up this to the public. Does anyone have any questions regarding this ordinance? Seeing no questions, I will end public portion. And I will offer this ordinance.
I'll second. Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
This ordinance has passed on second and final reading. Next item on the agenda is resolutions. The first is R-21-191, a resolution authorizing the payment of bills.
I'll offer it. I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R-21-192, a resolution authorizing shared services municipal court services.
I'll offer it. I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R-21-193, a resolution awarding a fair and open contract for Marine Place bulkhead improvement.
And that is just, so the public knows, that is to, make repairs to the land side of Marine Place. And I will offer that.
I'll second. Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R-21-194, a resolution authorizing purchase of police vehicles.
I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
I just have some questions about this. What will these specific vehicles be used for, and why these specific vehicles?
These are two Ford utility
Explorer SUVs that we're buying out of the budget line item that was set aside for their purchase. They're going to be used for patrol.
Are they replacing existing vehicles?
They're actually down one permanently and one it needs a replacement. So yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Councilmember Mona?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-195, a resolution authorizing the refund of sidewalk and curb cut escrow deposit fee.
I'll offer.
Second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Mona?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-196, a resolution requesting approval of insertion of $38,722 for the 2021 budget revenue available for the body worn camera grant.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
I have a question. Will this total $38,722 cover the entire, all of the cameras for all of the officers, Mike? Or will it-
I think it covers about 7 of them. They're around 5,000 each.
So will the other officers not have cameras, or will we be supplementing?
We'll be using ones that we already have, and new ones will replace some of the older ones.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Councilmember Mona?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-197, a resolution authorizing the execution of a shared services agreement for code enforcement officer services between the Borough of Highlands and the Borough of Atlantic Highlands.
Before I offer this, I just wanted to explain it a little bit. This is a shared service, and the cost is $1. The reason that we did that is because both the administrator and the code enforcement officer for the Borough of Atlantic Highlands recently retired in this month. And they do have a new borough administrator, but they did not have enough time to get a qualified person to do their code enforcement. So just to be a good neighbor, for 2 months, we are doing this contract. They're going to be going out and getting a new code enforcer, and if they still have not found one, we'll be negotiating a very different shared service come January. And with that, I'll introduce it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Mona?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski? Yes. Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-198, a resolution of the governing body for certification of the annual audit.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Mona?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-199, a resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, designating certain properties within the borough as a non-condemnation redevelopment area pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1 et sec, and authorizing the preparation of a redevelopment plan for such non-condemnation redevelopment area.
Before anyone offers, I am recusing myself from this vote as I have a business in the plan area.
I will offer it.
Second.
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
No.
Thank you. Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
I'm going to vote yes, but I just want to say a few words about this because I will not be sitting at this table when it comes time to make decisions in reference to what this plan will actually entail. I think that this is an enormous responsibility. I do support the area redevelopment because we have to do something. I just hope that everyone who's involved is very mindful, very careful, and very considerate of the residents of the town before moving forward. Yes.
Councilmember Mona?
just before, I'd like to thank Ms. Mazzola for all the help that she put through, getting us to this point for this redevelopment, knowing that this is something that we do need to do, and I'm hoping to see her stay engaged even beyond her term here in office. So, I also vote yes.
Council President Oshowski?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt, and recusal is noted. Next, we have R 21-200, a resolution setting the hours of trick-or-treating in the Borough of Highlands.
Yes, those hours are going to be from 12 to 8, and that's for both Mischief Night, which is a Saturday night, so we'll have to see how mischievous our little ones get. And trick-or-treating will be Sunday, also from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And I will.
Second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R 21-201, a resolution authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for professional engineering services in connection with the Snug Harbor Pump Station and North Street Pump Station upgrades.
I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. The last resolution for tonight is R 21-202, resolution authorizing adoption of amendments to the borough's employees handbook to be entitled Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual, and Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual to be entitled Personnel Policies and Procedural Manual Supervisory Supplement.
Mike, before we vote on that, could you just share a little bit of light of why it grew in size so much?
Yeah, this is a requirement. Usually every 2 years it has to be updated, and this is what the GFR insurance carrier requires, all these different policies and procedures. We get a discount on our insurance costs every year for this.
Thank you so much. And with that, I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Council President Oshowski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next item on the agenda are reports, and tonight we have committee
Michelle,
reports.
could I just jump in for other business just for a couple of quick updates? And because this just happened today, and I just want to give an update on the surveys. So far, for the regionalization survey, we have 489 complete responses. So if you have not taken that survey yet, your responses will be very much appreciated. For the redevelopment survey, we have 444 complete responses. And we have to make some noise about open space because we only have 10 responses so far, but we're going to start plugging away on that. These are all open and will remain open until October 31. The other news that just happened today, and I'm sad to see that Tara White is not here because she's been so diligent, but I'm very happy to announce that the New Jersey Green Acres Local Assistance Grant/Loan Program has approved the full cost to redo the skate park as a concrete park. And that is $599,000. So, the loan portion is going to be a very low interest loan at 2%. The good news is we still have the open space grant that has not yet been awarded. So we could conceivably get up to, if awarded, up to $250,000 to knock down some of that loan amount. So this is really super news, for not just the kids, but also, everyone that enjoys the skate park. Good stuff. And that's all I have, so I'll knock it over to the committees.
I'll start. So, Communications Committee. Starting with that, we've got work underway to update the website, to get the following done. So, one, to create a new section of the site that's just dedicated to the redevelopment. And while the initial focus will be on the Bay Avenue redevelopment, we're going to expand that also to include the contents that represent the activity for both Shadowrun as well as Captain Cove, so that there's a single place to access the information for redevelopment as that progresses. Next is to simplify the project section of the website. So right now it's currently listed under the government tab, but it's probably better to have that as quick access. So we'll make it available in the banner section. So right now where you see news and borough meetings, we'll have a section there now for a quick jump to the projects
which will now include that update for the skate park. Thank you very much. Also, we're going to create a section, we're going to carve it out for basically a mayor's corner, or some section, we may be working on that name, but essentially to represent those reports Mayor Rion read out last month, representing all the activity that's going on in town and has been going on in town across the year, having those in a central location as well, as opposed to having to pour over the agendas, would probably be an easier way for folks to stay in touch with what's happening within Highlands. And then lastly, in communication news, there's been a call for submission for our local groups, so our VFW, our American Legion, our First Aid Squad, to provide pictures and a brief write-up for their organization to feature in the 2022 calendar. And so knowing that everybody is a fan of those calendars, celebrating those groups is not only a great way to say thank you for the volunteers who are already engaged, but also potentially raise the awareness and attract new membership. Moving on to Shade Tree. Sadly, we lost another tree on Bay Avenue, and surprisingly not due to a vehicle strike. Despite the efforts from DPW to save the tree, it was determined that it was best to remove it, and as a result, we are now down another tree on Bay Avenue. We've done some consultation, the DPW in particular, Spencer has done some consultation with an arborist for other additional viable trees, and so while we discussed ginkgo as an option in the past, London plane tree has also been considered now. Also in the running is Japanese Scholar and Japanese Velcova, for you tree fans. The goal is to get one or two of these in the ground before the cold weather sets in, so we can see which ones we'll take, so that we can get to work on filling all those empty holes along the bay. There's also maintenance going to be occurring on the weeping birch trees in Cornwall Square Park. It's going to be conducted in the fall, which is the typical time for that trimming to occur. The DPW has been in communication with the Garden Club as well, to make sure that there's coordination for that effort. The DPW is also engaged with the Shade Tree Commissioner, Mr. Lee, as we move forward into 2022 for our annual submission for Shade Tree USA, going for another year in a row. And then lastly, on Shade Tree, there's a discussion in last night's meeting regarding the potential to preserve or transplant the trees in Shadowlawn. That came up in the Monday meeting for redevelopment. Mr. Rivera had made the suggestion that it would be nice to preserve some of that old growth tree and up there in the Shadowlawn area before that redevelopment occurs. Preliminary discussions doesn't point to that necessarily being a viable option. We'll consider it and look through what the cost benefit is of that potential movement of trees. And that would be it for Shade Tree. Now moving on to open space. We already heard about my 10 responses for the survey, one of those being mine, so 9 of you, thank you very much. But moving along, so the team is finalizing the recommendation for updates to the ROSI, the Registry of Open Space Inventory, in our upcoming October meeting this month, so next week. So we'll be able to move along with that and update that since I think the first time from 1994 until now. We also, like I said, mentioned that survey that's out there, specifically that gauged interest in an additional community garden, knowing that outdoor spaces are certainly what makes Highlands wonderful. Having the opportunity to work outdoors in the areas where some folks might not have a backyard, whether you live in a townhouse or an apartment, having another space in town to get out and just get your hands dirty might be some interest, but we don't want to jump headlong into a project that there's no interest for. Next would be to, after we get through our ROSI recommendations, the next task for the open space, we're looking to create and publish a comprehensive map. This has come up in several meetings, a comprehensive map that depicts the areas of water access throughout town, from end to end, so that folks know where they can get at the water, and hopefully make it easier for folks to understand where that public access is.
And those maps will all be on the open space page?
They would be, actually, no, you know what, the open space page, we can certainly put links to them. We can upload them within the open space page for sure. We'll host them in that location, but yes, yeah. And we'll see, again, like the benefit of the construction, the current website gives us a lot of flexibility. If that turns out to be cumbersome, we can always move it out to someplace else to make it easier for folks. And then, lastly, a couple weeks back, the mayor and I had a walkthrough of the, site on Route 36, formerly known as the Signage area, with Mr. Zalicki of the Environmental Committee, just to consider the potential for a new overlook park, which has the potential to make a walkable park, taking advantage of that great view of the bay and the ocean. And with it being situated, you know, between the hills of Highlands and downtown, it provides a great opportunity for folks to meet in the middle which is a great thing. So that's it for our committees for the
Thank you.
I'll do the schools next. I advise everybody, whether you have children in the schools or not, to tune in to Dr. Booth, our new superintendent, who has this wonderful monthly message on the best, easiest place I found to find it was on the elementary schools, website. It's really brilliant. There's information about everything. If you want to know about athletics, it's there. You want to know about kids who are really achieving, there's a merit scholar at the high school. That's pretty cool. But what really got me is there's a new program in the elementaries called Quest. And it kind of models on what used to be called Gifted and Talented, except this is for everybody. It starts out with little programs for kids from kindergarten through 6th grade, and it works its way through 3 stages. The first being enrichment and innovation, the second being explorations, and the third being accelerate. And it looks at learning from a whole different perspective. It doesn't focus on language arts or math. It focuses on problem solving, but on using the skills that you're developing in language and math and science, and also on social skills. How to work together, how to problem solve, where do you find the information, can we bring experts in, which is something that's definitely part of the program, that they might find experts within the community or even beyond the community who want to work on these problems with kids. As a teacher, back in the day, I ran a high school program called Financial Planning, but we did it with Junior Achievement, which was a group of businessmen who came in and helped kids run a business. And it was a wonderful thing because they learned all sorts of things without even realizing they were learning them in the doing. And so that's what, when I read this, it's what I thought about, and I think it's really cool. I also, on the website, there's all kinds of information. There is something called Trunk and Treat at the high school, in which parents bring their trunks full of goodies for Halloween, and kids can go car to car to car, and that's pretty cool. It'll be this Friday from 2 to 5 o'clock. The other thing that I realized on both websites, the high school and the elementaries, is there's a good bit of testing, and if you have kids in the district and you want to get a jump on when the testing is coming and what it's about, some of it is state-oriented, and it takes place in October, and it's kind of looking for baseline, especially after what kids have gone through for the past year and a half. So it's a good thing to get a baseline of where our kids are. And it's basically English, they call it ELA, English Language Arts, and math, and also science. And they'll be testing toward the end of the year that's state-sponsored. But there is also testing throughout the year to find kids who have needs and to help to fulfill those needs. I'm really impressed with the websites of all the schools, but her message really blew me away. It's so wonderful that there will be something monthly. And the only other thing I would say is if you haven't done the survey on regionalization, take a stab at it. It would be so good to have as much information from what you know and how you feel about it as we can get. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're just,
Yes.
so I wasn't able to attend for work, but I know there was there. So.
Yes, and we discussed, Mr. Melnick and I in a meeting, with the Environmental Commission team up there. We actually talked about a bunch of different things, even outside of the potential of doing Overlook Park. They want to review the rooftop schematics just to make sure that there's no, or at least very minimal noise pollution that would happen from Newborough Hall to the area where the residents are up on 36 that surround the building. And that was pretty much it. Most of the talk was all about the new park and how excited everyone was. So what we did is we, I think at last meeting, we sent that over to engineering to have a look at that, because it is on the base of the slope. We've got a lot of scrub trees. We have to be very careful when we're doing anything near a slope. So engineering is working on that project, and they'll report back once they get further along in the design. Does anyone else at the table have any other comments before we open to the public? Anyone? Okay, then we will open it to the public.
Yes. Thank you. I'm just gonna read a statement really quick and then, Claudia, 3:12, Cedar. Hold on, I just have to read the statement and then you continue. Thank you. Individuals wishing to address the council shall be recognized by the presiding officer and shall give their name, address, and the group, if any, they represent. Although the council encourages public participation, it reserves the right to its presiding officer to terminate remarks to and/or by any individual not in keeping with the conduct of a proper and efficient meeting. If any individual refuses to conduct themselves in a proper manner, they will be removed from the meeting. The council will not, during the public portion of this meeting, discuss matters involving employment, appointment, termination of employment, negotiations, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance of, promotion of, discipline of any specific or prospective or current employee. There is a 3-minute time limit for your comments. Thank you. Claudia, 3:12, Cedar. I have a question about the code enforcement. Pat, can you tell us how much we pay Middletown for our code enforcement, roughly? Ballpark?
We don't pay them for code enforcement. We pay them for the building department, not code enforcement.
So our code enforcement is in our town completely, it's not a shared service.
No, it's,
I believe that code enforcement offered to Middletown is part of that shared service, but it's Highlands code enforcement.
I know it's Highlands code enforcement, but as part of the Middletown shared service, I mean, who pays for code enforcement? I guess that's a simple question.
We do, but yeah, there's, one afternoon a week he does for Middletown, for one portion of Middletown.
Okay, so he's strictly
He's ours.
our budget.
Yes,
And does he have an assistant?
no,
Okay, all right. I was just curious because we're giving it away for $1. I thought it was a shared service with Middletown for some reason. I think a lot of people felt that, so I just got like 7 texts on that. So,
It was the building department shared services that you're
Okay.
thinking about where they offered to help them with code enforcement, but it's Highlands code enforcement.
okay, all right, great, thank you.
Good evening. Andrew Polakowski. I represent the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Partners and Partners Local 255. If it pleases the mayor and council, I'd like to speak on behalf of the other partners here this evening in reference to the upcoming new municipal building. I'll be brief. If that's okay.
absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate you granting me that opportunity. So I represent Partners, the gentleman in the back of the room and the ladies who are not present with us tonight, local residents of Monmouth County. They would love an opportunity to work on a new upcoming municipal building. I would ask that the council would consider a project labor agreement, which would ensure that you would have local tradesmen, not only from the Partners, but other trades, given the opportunity to work on the project. That would ensure that you would have a well-known project built by local craftsmen who take pride in their work, who live here, who their children go to school in this area, they pay taxes in the area, rather than having an out-of-state contractor who possibly would have shoddy work. The tax dollars don't get spent here, so I ask that you would consider that. I brought some literature with me tonight that I'll leave with you for your perusal. I'm sorry I only had 5. And I will distribute my business cards. If any of you would like to continue this conversation further, I would be more than happy to do so. I appreciate your time and your consideration, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I actually have some questions.
Certainly.
I'm going to start off by saying that I'm very familiar with the union trades. So I just want the public to know that I do have some experience dealing with the union trades. For the record, I would like for you to share with the council here and the public what exactly is a PLA, what it means, what trades would be covered, and then I would also like for you to speak about cost differential, possible cost differential.
Okay, certainly, and I appreciate your questions. So, A project labor agreement ensures that local people will be hired from the local union hiring halls, 80%. That ensures that you're getting all the local craftsmen. The state has a mandate that every trade, any contractor representing that trade must be part of an approved apprenticeship program. And for the carpenters, we have a 4-year apprenticeship program where we make our carpenters highly skilled, highly trained. It gives you the quality that you're looking for. So it ensures that an out-of-state contractor can bid on the project, but he's got to get 80% of the labor from the local hiring hall. So it doesn't preclude anybody, whether they're a union or a non-union contractor, to bid on the project. That makes it a fair and level playing field. It is obviously prevailing wage because it's a municipal project, so they have to pay that rate anyhow. As for cost differential, that comes with some of the literature that I brought. So, if you look at what the state mandated prevailing wage is for a municipal project, it doesn't change. If the contractor is a legitimate contractor, their bids should all be within a certain ballpark figure based on their profit margin. So an unscrupulous contractor, to give you an example, you'll see 3 or 4 bids from contractors that are all within the same area, and then the unscrupulous contractor comes in with a low ball offer, and there's only one way really to make that up, and that's by paying substandard wages to their employees, who a lot of times aren't even residents or tax-paying citizens. They're afraid to speak out because they have a job, they're getting paid, and this ensures that that doesn't happen. It doesn't benefit the town, it doesn't benefit the taxpayers, it doesn't benefit the municipality in any way because that money is not spent here. These gentlemen and the other trades live here, want to work here, want to give you a good project, want to be proud of what they do, and when the project is done, we'll be honored to say that they built it.
Just for clarity, the project has to be built with prevailing wage, with prevailing wages.
That's right.
The access to prevailing wage rates are public. Anybody can go online and look them up. Is there a huge cost differential between prevailing wage and the union wage?
No, the prevailing wage for the state is set by union wages. So again, that falls in line, and your question is spot on, that falls in line. If you see a bid that's so far out of whack, there's only one way to make it up. Either that or they're going to be hitting you with change order after change order because they underbid. But you'll find that it's basically because they're not paying fair and proper wages.
Any idea how many union workers that potentially could be working on our building live in Highlands? That's a question you may not be aware of, but...
Okay, so, good question. I live in Cape May, so I'm up here on behalf of our representative who's in Washington DC tonight, but I can get that answer to the council and would be more than happy to provide it. You can actually, in a project labor agreement, stipulate that X amount of residents have to come from the area. And we'll do our best to fulfill your request.
I would be interested in knowing that, not only from the carpenters, from all the other building trades, because the Building Trades Association would be involved. So if you could get that to us?
I certainly would be happy to do that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Great questions. Any other questions? I thank you for your time, and I'll just pass these out.
Is there any other comment from the public? Seeing none, I will, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for coming.